Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and in front of me, I have the Arturia Minifreak, a synthesizer that I did not do a review on when it was announced when the embargo dropped because, one, there's already going to be plenty of them. Two, I was moving. I was very, very tired. And three, I had just spent like a month making presets for it, and I was just a little burnt out at that time. So I made factory presets for the Arturia Minifreak. I really, really like this synth. 10 out of 10, honestly, it's great. And what I wanted to do with you today is walk through the presets I made and talk about the synth and why I think it's special. I honestly think this is a best-in-class for price synth right now because of all that it offers. So that's what I want to talk about today. So I'm using the VST that's over here. And in the VST, which communicates directly with the synthesizer, I can sort by a variety of factors, including who made the preset. So this makes it very easy for me to look up my own presets, you know? The first one we have here is called Fifth Element, and this is a doozy. This is definitely not the one that I started with making. This is not the order that I started making, because this one's very complicated. So let's see what's going on. Well, that certainly is quite a sound. I think I broke my own rule of that presets for a synth should be interesting, but not so interesting you can't use them in anything. I definitely broke that rule. I actually approached this with a different idea in mind, and that was the same experience that I had when I was going to NAMM in 2020, and I sat down at synths, like the Wave State, and I played some of the presets there, and I was like, holy moly, goddamn, this thing sounds good. And I was just blown away by the presets. Really good presets can really do a great job explaining what a synth is capable of to somebody who sits down at it for the first time. And while not all of these things are good for production, meaning they're not good to use in like a song, they do say, hey, this is what this synth can do, you know, maybe your imagination could take it the rest of the way. So we have two oscillators here. The first one is using the harmonic oscillator type, and the second one is using 2-operator FM. We have cycling envelope, and how many LFOs are there? There's 2 LFOs, and then we have another envelope that I believe can also loop. And what you're hearing is some form of cross modulation between the LFOs, so that they change the rate of each other, and those are then attached to the some of the timbre controls here for the oscillators. Every oscillator gets a wave, timbre, and shape, and depending on what oscillator you've picked, those are going to be different. And so there's a huge amount of variety in terms of what this synth can do from a sound design standpoint, because every single oscillator type in here is wildly different from the last one. And there are, like, you know, virtual analog sounds in there as well, more traditional sort of subtractive type of oscillators. But right off the bat, you just get this huge palette to play with. And in case you don't know, that comes in great part from Mutable Instruments plots, from Amelie's design of those original digital oscillators. Arturia took that, they put it in the Minifreak, and then they built more oscillators for it. They worked with one of my favorite companies, Noise Engineering, and got some of their software-based DSP oscillators in here as well. And then they designed some of their own ones. So this thing has been kind of like maturing over time. It's just great. It's really, really fun to program. So when you're making presets, you do have to keep in mind that there's mappable controls here. It's not just here's a sound. You have to map all the things that are available for the user, with the exception of maybe like expression control via a pedal or something like that. So it's a lot of work. You have to like take into account all that stuff. You don't just get to make a single sound. You have to create a sound that can move with user input. And that's what's going on over here, especially with the macros, because you have, let's see, how many slots? 1, 2, 3, 4 slots in the macros, I believe, and those can be mapped almost anywhere in the synth, including the effects. So you set a range for each one, and as you move our friend here, you will change all of these at once. So a huge range can be changed in here, and you'll hear that as I get to some of my other presets. That's super cool. What do we have going on here? Distortion, yeah. Multi-comp. There's a multi-band compressor built into here. It's like the ones from Pigments, which is really, really great. And then also some reverb, which you can obviously hear. This one is just one of those, I love making pads. I love them to death. And you'll hear that classically, I have the mod wheel set for all my presets to increase the brightness of the preset in some way. Not all the time, but in most cases. That's too much fun. The sequencer in the Minifreak is really, really cool. What oscillators are these? We have speech and noise. So the speech oscillator is from, what do you call it? Plots, which you can hear that. And then the noise oscillator is actually capable of doing all those drum sounds that you hear. So on one side of the noise oscillator, you can get almost like kick drums out of it. On the other side, it's almost like pure hi-hats. So with the sequencer, you can go through and either record step automation. You can program it step by step. It's just really, really powerful. And so that's one of the things I wanted to make sure that I got across in this was that you could, make full beats in this thing if you wanted to. Yeah. I really like to make things like super, super broads. Like, how far can you take this sound from tiny to gigantic? This one's called Destro. Yeah. See, you can set things to reverb. So that's one of the things I did here. It gets brighter, sounds like a high-pass filter going up, and then also reverby. What the hell do the macros do here? That's nasty. Yeah, that's good. What's going on here? We have basic waves and wave shaper. So basic waves is one of your almost like classic, VA thing, though there is like a classic VA one in here. But basic waves you can think of as like sine, triangle, square, and saw. So we're going to get some classic subtractive action going on there. And then wave shapers, you can go from like a rather clean sound to like a really, really dirty sound as it folds and mangles the wave shape. So yeah, distortion, baby. So the effects are going to play a big part in this. What do we have? A chorus before a multi-comp and then distortion. I was actually just thinking about this today with the third wave video I just shot about chorus before or after distortion. And I think I did it wrong in that video. I think I should have put the chorus before the distortion instead of afterwards because the distortion just picks up on the chorus and gets real nasty. Oh, this has to be a noise engineering oscillator. Yeah. So the noise engineering oscillators, Saw X and Harm, these are great. And that crazy that that you hear, that's from Saw X. This is one of the things that I love about their Eurorack oscillators is how, because they're so good at writing DSP, noise engineering is, that they are not bound by any sense of normalcy when it comes to what a control will do to the timbre of a sound. And therefore, they have written some of the most interesting oscillators in the history of oscillators, as far as I'm concerned. The cool thing is, because they're all DSP, one, they port them to here. Two, you can get them as VSTs and audio units and plugins. Or you can go to their site and get these as plugins. Some of them are even free. So just you owe it to yourself to like check this stuff out if you like really crazy sounds and like really interesting, rich harmonics. I love it. Yes, that's why it's called this. Oh, it's beautiful, if I don't say so myself. That's beautiful. I love this when it comes in on the bottom. So I can see here that my harmonic oscillator is actually turned all the way down. So one of the things you can do with the macros, so you have two oscillators you can assign things to all over the place in the mod matrix, is you can have a whole nother oscillator come in under the oscillator that starts the preset off. And I think the reason that some of these are like that is because I didn't even realize that I had two oscillators when I started making the presets for this. It was a little like disjointed right at the beginning because like the product was in super beta, like the hardware was here, but the firmware was nowhere near done. And the communication was just kind of like all crazy because everyone's like rushing to get the product done. So like I didn't even realize I had two oscillators. This is a great demonstration of how the filter sounds. Listen to the way that the filter burbles and has that little tiny bit of whoop right at the beginning of the attack. Yeah. I guess this thing can acid. Slippy. Oh, that's cool. I like that one a lot. Okay, I don't remember why I made this one. because I had to give the Car Plus Strong oscillator a little love. It's my least favorite oscillator on here, the one that I don't reach for the most, but I needed to give it some love. So I'm like, well, what can I do? I can make a clav sound. And somehow it turns into an organ? This is called sound effects. They messed up my tagging for this. This is obviously not a sound effect. So sorry for any of you that like can't find my sounds in this by like genre. They're going to be a bit mangled, apparently. This was obviously a bass or lead sequence. patch mod up. With a little bit of filter. Yeah, more effect. All right, now let's bring up the filter again. Little song starter for you, little, you know, fidget house, bass house like song starter for you. I remember this one. I had to remake this one. One of the perils of working with, you know, unstable firmware is you might end up with a firmware update that corrupts your presets, and that happened at least once. I was also playing a lot of Elden Ring, and like I think Waves of Gold is like one of the weapon arts for like the final boss weapon. So I don't know. I doubt it's going to sound like that, but maybe it'll sound like, you know, an Erd tree. Let's find out. If I was remaking this, I'd probably have the reverb send level much higher. That sounds better to me. So again, you can hear cross modulation to increase and decrease the speed of things. And, you know, you're also hearing something that is unique to this. Under sound edit pitch, you can quantize the pitch of each oscillator, meaning that oscillator 1 is quantized to fifths and oscillator 2 is quantized to fifths. And when you send an LFO to it, you're basically doing something that we get to do in modular. You are quantizing an unquantized pitch. I'll turn it off real quick and you can hear what this would sound like continuous. It's kind of cool, you know? Here's octaves. It's actually pretty cool too. So there's all kinds of scales in here you can mess around with. And don't sleep on that. It's a really, really neat feature that I was so stoked to find because it's something that you have in Pigments, I believe. So there's a fair amount of Pigments DNA in here, which is always a good thing. I don't remember why I called this one Gunner, but I'm guessing because it's pretty rhythmic. Yeah. I swear to God, I could just use some of these presets to like be the core of a song. All right, lo-fi keys. It's called Heartbreak. Nice. Definitely a little Trent inspired. What? What is going on there? That's wild. Oh, it turns into a pad. I remember this one. Right. It turns into a pad. Aftertouch. I forgot about Aftertouch. This has a lot of stuff that I've forgotten about. Also, you can hear some velocity sensitivity here as well. Set to timbre and cutoff. Nice and expressive, right? Ooh, I've got some stutters in here. Ooh, listen to that. Really nice kind of effect movement happening there. This was definitely Underworld inspired. Melodic sequence called Let It Be. Well, let's play. Okay, this was one of the attempts at sort of a generative thing. So, because all of the oscillators, I'm just gonna let it play, because all the oscillators have the ability to be turned on and off or volume shaped, they have their own volume control. You can map this to things, including LFOs, and you can cross mod the LFOs, and then you can use all the timbre controls and stuff like that here with modulation. And you can create sequences that like basically are generative, the concept of generative, almost like what like Ben Jordan did in his Zoya preset, which I think is one of the like most interesting programmed things I've ever encountered. So that's what's going on here. Let's find out what happens when we go over here and mess around. We have Car plus Strong again, yeah, and virtual analog. Oh, there's the Car plus Strong. I don't hate it. But with a name like Mortal Bat, this is going to be an old school rave preset. Yes. All right. Chorus, reverb, and multicomp with bass and superwave. So let's find out what happens when we fuck around. Put a kick in a sidechain and you're good to go. Mortal Kombat! Very snappy. I like that. I like that quite a bit. That's cool. Okay, cool. There is some bass there. I always make sure my pads have like a big drone bass that you can play. Apparently there's some glide on that too, which is a little strange, but it is what it is. Ooh, that's cool. What's going on here? Basic waves and 2-op FM. This is the 2-op FM right here. Oh shit. So somehow I managed to turn it to electric piano on one side and sort of a Solera string thing on the other side. And then here it's more normal. That's a good pad. I'm a pad aficionado. I just want you to know. I can tell you when a pad is good. Sometimes you can shorten pads' attacks. And then you have a really epic sort of piano sound. This one's called Simplicity. It's also a pad. I like that fuzz. Gotta make a brass sound, and this one's called Super Doot. That's better. Oh no, it turns into a pad. Listen to that crazy creaky thing. That's cool. Oh, so the pad control's here. Gotcha, all right. Cool. That one's nifty. I like it. Last but not least, I think this is my favorite preset that I made. It's called Trent's Piano, and I think you'll see why. Two noise engineering oscillators, doing all kinds of fun stuff. I love this sound. This was the only sound I've actually performed with. There's a video on the second channel. My last patch till November was made with this sound. I like it a lot. If you turn up the envelope, it turns into a pad. Now it's like a Boards of Canada sound. Those are my presets for the Arturia Minifreak. If you have a Minifreak, you have them. If you don't have a Minifreak, hopefully they will be available to you soon. I'm going to try to time this video with when I see them out in the wild. Unfortunately, whether or not a piece of gear is actually available to people at this point is up in the air all the time. And that's unfortunate. But I truly do believe this is a very special synth. I hope that over the course of this video, you can see the sheer insane diversity that just my presets have. And there are some better presets on this thing than mine. So, there's the VST aspect of it as well. Hopefully the VST becomes available to everybody so you can get a sense of what's going on with this thing. That'd be cool. But yeah, 2 thumbs up for the Minifreak. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video and seeing why I think it's special. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Beans Recording, and I hope you have a wonderful day.